Greetings, my peeps, and welcome to the All Things Basketball Podcast with your boy GD. In this episode, my Week 8 recap. We'll talk about the NBA Cup Final. We'll preview that, and then we'll talk about the quarterfinals and the semifinals. Also, LeBron's week off, and then the legendary WIlbon talking about the possibility of trading LeBron to Golden State. I have some words to say about that. And then Caitlin Clark, Time Athlete of the Year, but it comes with some backlash, and boy, I got some heat for some people, so you know how I do it. So with that said, just sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Okay, guys, it's your boy GD back with the All Things Basketball with GD podcast. And guys, we are now into week 9. So you know what that means. I'll be doing my week 8 recap, and that's what I'm bringing to you today. So, guys, a lot of news here to talk about. So let's get right into it. Now, they didn't announce a player of the week as of now, so I'll skip by that, and then I'll just go into the top stories. All right, so we will start with the NBA Cup, guys. We've had our quarterfinals, we've had our semifinals, and come this Tuesday, you'll have your finals. So let's get right into it. Let's start with the quarterfinals, guys. On Tuesday, December 10th, you had the Milwaukee Bucks taking on the Orlando Magic, and that was in Milwaukee. And what was a close game, and I tell you what, guys, say what you want about Orlando. This is a scrappy bunch, man. They had no business being in this game, but they were. In fact, Milwaukee only had a 1-point lead at halftime. And it was pretty close down the stretch as well. But in the end, Milwaukee prevails, guys. 114 to 109. In a game where Giannis, you know how Giannis does. 37 points, 7 rebounds, 4 blocks, and 2 steals for him. Damian Lillard, 28 points for him. And he dished out 9 assists. And then off your bench, Bobby Portis Jr. with 22 points and 10 rebounds. So he gives you a double-double. And on the losing side, Jalen Suggs, I tell you what, man, he's had a fine year thus far. Jalen Suggs, 32 points in the loss, along with 9 rebounds and 4 steals for him. So Milwaukee Bucks take the first game in the NBA Cup quarterfinals. And then that evening, you had OKC taking on Dallas, and that's in OKC, guys. In a game that was tight in the first half, OKC only led by 3 at the half. But in the second half, they just poured it on, guys. Especially MVP candidate Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, and they end up winning 118 to 104. For the game, SGA, 39 points, including 5 threes, which is a lot for him, 8 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 steals, guys. So Shai Gilgeous-Alexander doing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander things. Also, Isaiah Hartenstein, he gives you a double-double, 10 points, along with 13 rebounds for the Thunder. And then on the losing side, Klay Thompson and Najee Marshall, 19 points apiece for them. And Luka, only 16 points, but he does have 11 rebounds for the game. So OKC takes the nightcap, and they get the win, thus advancing to the semifinals. Then we move on to Wednesday, December 11th, and you have the first game, my Knicks taking on the Atlanta Hawks, in a game where the Knicks actually led at the half by 7, guys, 54-47, but Atlanta, man, their length, their athleticism was just too much for the Knicks, man. And they end up winning. The final score, 108-100. So Atlanta Hawks, the first team in the NBA Cup to take a win on the road. For the game, DeAndre Hunter, he had 24 points. In fact, his 24 points off the bench well paced the Knicks, who only had 14 total amongst the bench players. And then you have Trae Young, 22 points, 11 assists. Jalen Johnson, who's having a very fine campaign, 21 points, 15 rebounds, 7 assists for him. And then on the losing side, Josh Hart, guys, he led them in scoring 21 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists. Karl Anthony Towns, 19 points, 19 rebounds, 5 assists, 3 blocks, 3 steals. And they just bottled up Jalen Brunson, guys. In fact, Dyson Daniels, who I spoke about the last episode, him being the defensive player of the month, they just threw him on Jalen Brunson, and that was a wrap pretty much. So the Knicks take the loss, and that's the way that goes. All right, so your nightcap, Houston Rockets hosting the Golden State Warriors in a game that was close, guys. They led at 7 at the half, and this game reminded me of kind of your 90s type games. That's the kind of low scoring you had, because the Rockets only had 44 points at the half, and Golden State only 37. And then when the dust settles, Houston pulls out a close victory, guys. In fact, they win 91-90, and they win it on a last-minute foul that Jonathan Kuminga commits on Jalen Green, a foul in which Coach Steve Kerr goes absolutely bonkers over. So Jalen goes to the line. He sinks the free throws with 3.5 seconds to win the game. So that's the way that that game shaped up. Leading the way for Houston, Alperen Sengun, 26 points, 11 rebounds, guys, 5 assists, 3 steals. Jonathan Kuminga, he leads the way for Golden State, 20 points with 7 rebounds. Steph has 19, along with 5 assists. And actually, on the final play of the game, Brandon Podziemski, he attempts a 3-point shot, but it gets blocked by Jabari Smith Jr. So that's the way the game ends. But Houston gets the win. So you have your semifinalists now between Milwaukee and Atlanta, and then OKC and Houston. In the first game, and this takes place on Saturday, December 14th, Milwaukee Bucks actually was losing after 3 quarters, guys. They were down 83-82, so they're down a point. Atlanta played a feisty game, guys, but that 4th quarter, the Bucks just took over, guys. So They end up winning 110-102. Giannis Antetokounmpo, of course, 32 points, 14 rebounds, 9 assists, 4 blocks for him. Dame, 25 points for him. Of the 25 points, he drops 5 threes in the game, along with 7 assists and 6 rebounds. And on the losing side, Trae Young, he goes a bit crazy, 35 points, along with 10 assists, 7 rebounds. And then Jalen Johnson, a double-double, 15 points with 10 rebounds. So Milwaukee takes the early game. Then you have OKC taking on Houston. In a game that was close at the half, guys. In fact, Houston was up by a point, but OKC, they're one of those teams where, you know, they let you hang around, and in that second half, it seems like they put their feet on the gas and just take off, which they did in this game, to the tune of getting the win, 111-96. For the game, you have Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, 32 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 5 steals, guys. Wow. For him. And then Isaiah Hartenstein, 21 points, man. Wow. Along with 8 rebounds. And then Jalen Williams, 20 points for him, 5 assists, 5 rebounds. And then in the loss for Houston, the starters didn't give you, well, it was kind of balanced scoring, but your lead scorer was Amen Thompson off your bench, 19 points, 7 rebounds, 3 steals for him. So this sets the stage for the final between the Milwaukee Bucks and the Oklahoma City Thunder. Matchups to look at, guys. Jalen Williams on Giannis. I think you'll definitely see that. That should be an interesting matchup there. Although Jalen Williams giving up some inches to Giannis, but should be an intriguing matchup. Dame, probably to guard Dame, you'll have Cason Wallace. He'll start on him probably. Then you probably see a rotation of Lou Dort, possibly Shai Gilgeous-Alexander as well, to kind of keep Dame at bay. Taurean Prince versus Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. I think that's probably the way that Milwaukee goes. Whether he could slow him down or not, that's another story. And then my matchup that's going to fly under the radar, Brook Lopez versus Isaiah Hartenstein. I think this is a battle of 2 classic bigs here. I think whoever controls the boards among these 2 guys, their team will probably get the win when all is said and done. So my prediction, I'm picking the Thunder, guys. I think the Thunder is going to prevail. There's something about this group, man. Even without the likes of a Chet Holmgren, they find ways to get it done. To me, they have the stronger bench than what Milwaukee has, and they just have a number of guys they can go to. It could be SGA, of course, Jalen Williams, he's blossoming. Hartenstein is such a nice fit for that team as well. Lou Dort can kind of surprise you sometimes with what he gives you, but I think OKC finds a way and they get it done. So I'm picking OKC, guys. All right, so that is your NBA Cup Finals preview. Now I want to deviate from the NBA. I want to talk a little WNBA, if you don't mind. Caitlin Clark, she wins Time Athlete of the Year. And she wins it over the likes of a Shohei Ohtani, who gave you the 50-50 last year, 50 home runs and 50 stolen bases. And then his team, of course, the LA Dodgers, they win it all. They win the World Series. So you could have made an argument for him. Simone Biles and what she did at the Olympics, you could went that way. Katie Ledecky also someone who fared well at the Olympics also. But I think Time Magazine thinking was, who is the person who has moved the needle for their sport in this calendar year? And I think that's the reasoning behind them going with a Caitlin Clark. So we've seen what she's done as far as the attendance goes, how she's such a draw, guys. You see me with the Caitlin apparel here. She's selling jerseys, she's selling merchandise. You know, she goes on the road and these teams move from their normal venue to a bigger venue. So Time Magazine says, you know what? Caitlin Clark is our athlete of the year. But with that, it's not even so much the controversy of her being chosen over those people I mentioned. Now you have people attacking this young lady for some of the remarks she made while she was interviewed by Time. In essence, she basically pays homage to the players that have come before her. Everybody knows who's been following her that she's a huge fan of Maya Moore. That's who she grew up rooting. You know, that was her favorite player coming up. And that's who she kind of modeled her game after, you know, being kind of an all-world player. And she basically said that, you know, there's black players that, you know, have built up this league and they don't really get the recognition. Then she talked about privilege a bit. So, of course, there's those who absolutely lost their mind over what she said. In fact, I want to play you what she said as far as the naysayers, and then I'll go into these different people and what they were talking about. So I'm going to play for you. This is Caitlin firing back at the naysayers. I believe she was being interviewed. It was Maria Taylor who was talking to her. So this is what she had to say.
And even today, earlier today, Megyn Kelly, she was saying that you were apologizing for your white privilege and the fact that you wanted to uplift black female athletes and make sure that they were getting the shine, kind of like your pioneers were getting the shine that they deserved. And I just want to know how you feel or how you respond to some of those criticisms when you have to deal with something that it's really not your problem. Like, I feel like it's them looking in a mirror a little bit, but it still comes down on your shoulders.
I feel like I always have had really good perspective on everything that's kind of happened in my life, whether that's been good, whether that's been bad. And then obviously coming to the WNBA, like I've said, I feel like I've earned every single thing that's happened to me over the course of my career. But also, I grew up a fan of this league from a very young age. Like, my favorite player was Maya Moore. Like, I know what this league was about. And like I said, like, it's only been around 25 plus years. So I know there's been so many amazing black women that have been in this league, and continuing to uplift them, I think, is very important. And that's something I'm very aware of. And like I said, like, I try to just be real and authentic and, you know, share my truth. And I think that's very easy for me. Like, I'm very comfortable in my own skin. And that's kind of been how it is my entire life.
Yes. And you'll never be able to make everyone happy. And someone that knows that at the age of 22, like, let's go.
That's what she had to say. Bravo. Bravo, Caitlin. Bravo. Bravo. Well said. Well said. But, of course, you have your people in the media, people who couldn't wait to salivate to talk about this stuff. Let's start with Doug Gottlieb, that kleptomaniac. He goes on his show on Fox Sports, and he basically said that she was made to apologize for her success. She was forced to apologize for her success, and that social media pressure drove her to do this. First of all, she's not on social media like that. Unlike, who I root for, Angel Reese, Caitlyn is not on social media like that. So for you to say she's caving into social media pressure, I think that's ill-placed. And if you followed her, you would know that. But of course you don't know that. So she's one who don't take to social media where, she'll pop up every now and again, like, she had people go crazy when she liked the Taylor Swift post, and everybody went nuts over that. But she's not on social media like that. So for you to say that social media, she was pressured there, not true. And then also, you say that she was forced to apologize for her success. She's not apologizing for her success. That's where listening comprehension comes in. She's not apologizing for her success at all. She's just saying that, I recognize those that came before me. Many of them are Black players, and I want to I want to acknowledge that. I don't see the harm in that. I chide the players in the NBA for not tipping a hat to the, players from back then. We know about Anthony Edwards and the ridiculous comments he made about nobody having talent outside of Jordan. We've heard that. So if we want to criticize Anthony Edwards for saying that, and then come over here and criticize Caitlin Clark for recognizing older players, where's the sense in that? So Doug Gottlieb, you could kick rocks, buddy. You could kick rocks with that nonsense. So that's him. Marcus Wiley and Will Kane, two failed ESPN employees, now on another platform. They talk about she woke up and then, had the disparaging things to say about what she said and so forth. And what kills me about this whole thing, they think this young lady where, people are her media handlers or whoever are propping her up to say that. This is her own feeling. She's made this known on several occasions. It's just that people weren't listening. Now that she got this award here, now she's reiterated what she said already. So it's nothing new. And these people are just losing their minds over it. So you hear them with their nonsense. And then you have Stephen A. Smith. I'm not going to get on too much, but of course he used this to validate his marketing angle. Of course he did that to say that, his phrase, all tides lift boats, or whatever he calls it. Rising tide lift boats. And saying, this is why she should have been on the Olympics, which I've said a million times. And actually she spoke about this. She spoke about the Olympic snub in the article. And she said she didn't want to be a player who would end up being at the end of the bench, which is what would have happened because she didn't know the system. So I'm glad she mentioned that, because this is why I've been saying all along, guys, if she would have got picked, she would have been on the end of the bench. Why? Because she doesn't know the system. I've been saying that from the rooftops, and I'm glad she reiterated what I was saying all along. So thank you, Caitlin, for that. And you put to bed what Stephen A. Smith had to say in that regard. And then, of course, he talks about, the jealous girl and this and that. Again, it's not an entire league that's jealous of her. There's some jealousy? Of course. And we could go back to LeBron James. His own teammates were jealous of him. So this is not foreign in sports. You're going to have some jealous people. It's not the majority. So miss me with that, Stephen A. And then this guy, I call him Steve. Nah, that's Steven. I call him Jason Witless. He awakes from his drunken stupor to get in front of a mic, and here's what he had to say. He said that, and he tried to be clever and tried this play on words. Like when she got snubbed for Olympics, what she told her coach that they awakened a monster. Now he's calling her a woke monster. You are such a clown. You are such an idiot. It's just sickening how you just hate yourself. You look in the mirror, you just hate yourself for being black. I hate to go there, but that's what you bring. That's what you bring. And it's disgusting. And I don't know what black woman hurt you. You need to get over it. That's all I'm going to say on that. But he awakes from his drunken stupor. You can smell the alcohol from your computer screen as much drinking as he does, but I digress. But Jason Whitlet, that's what he had to say in that regard. But what the players of Caitlin's ilk can do, they can block out the noise, the nonsense. That's what great players do. They don't pay attention to what these idiots and fools have to say. They go out there, they're like, I hear my guy Ocho on Nightcap talk about this. He's got his blinders on, he's focused, he's straight ahead with what's in front of him. And Caitlin has that same kind of demeanor. So I'm going to leave it alone with Jason Witless because it's not even worth my time stooping down to his level. And then you have the Mystics owner, Sheila Johnson. Now, she makes these absurd comments, and I want to play that sound. This is what she had to say. She was being interviewed, I believe it was CNN. Here's what she had to say.
It's just the structure of the way media plays out race. I'm going to be very honest. I feel really bad because I've seen so many players of color that are equally as talented, and they never got the recognition that they should have. And I think right now it is time for that to happen. So last night we read Time Magazine where Caitlin Clark was named Athlete of the Year. Why couldn't they have put the whole WNBA on that cover and said the WNBA is the league of the year because of all the talent that we have? Because when you just keep singling out one player, it creates hard feelings. And so now you're starting to hear stories of racism within the WNBA, and I don't want to hear that. We have got to operate and become stronger as a league and respect. It's just the structure of the way media plays out.
Miss Johnson, with all due respect, you sound foolish. You sound foolish because, and you got to call it what it is. Not everybody is selling out the arenas the way Caitlin is. Angel's getting the buzz now. She's getting the buzz too, but when it comes to Caitlin, your own team, your own franchise moved from the smaller venue to the big venue where the Washington Wizards play. So you benefited from Caitlin coming to your arena. So how dare you try and say the league should have been it should have been League of the Year. Time Magazine doesn't do a League of the Year. They do Athlete of the Year. And they gave it to Caitlin. So what are we even talking about here? So, Miss Johnson, with all due respect, those comments were ridiculous. You should just ride the tide. Now I'm sounding like Stephen A. But ride the tide that your league is enjoying. That was the way to go. Not bring up this nonsense and feed into the media nonsense. That's what you're doing. And it's not a good look. It's not a good look. And if I was the commissioner, I'd have you on the phone like, Miss Johnson, walk back those comments because they're ill-advised and you sound ridiculous. So I just don't get it. I don't get it. But again, she gets this athlete of the year and she makes these comments. I applaud what she said. Nothing she said was out of line. Nothing she said was out of the way. But of course, there's those who are just taking this to levels that it doesn't even need to go to. And here's the last thing I'll say. If what she says is enough to make you not follow her, fine, go. Especially these fans on social media. If this was the breaking point for you, if this was a bridge you can't cross with her, fine. Don't follow her. Leave it for the real basketball fans to follow her. Because I enjoy her game. And at the same time, I can enjoy a Angel Reese's type game. Very different, but you can enjoy both all the same. As well as, the Asias of the world, the Sabrina Inescus and so forth. But, yeah, so if this what it took for you to say, she's gone too far, I can't follow her anymore, fine, be gone. Because I think she even said this to kind of separate herself from this sort of thinking. See, y'all wanted her to be Nick Bosa, but she ain't going to be that. She's grown up in a progressive town where, the tolerance is accepted for other people. And that's okay. That's fine. That's fine for you to be like that. But you people want her to be an avatar for your hatred, for your racism. And she ain't going there. So you sit and stew on that. And I'm glad she clarified these comments again. This way, you could get rid of the riffraff. So be gone, riffraff. Be gone. All right, I'm done. All right, guys. So that is it for that bit of rant there. Let's turn our attention back to the NBA, shall we? Guys, there's a lot of noise being made. I kind of touched on it a little bit about the ratings being down. I think it's a variety of things as far as, still the NFL season happening, elections, everybody was consumed with that, a variety of things. So we all know that for the NBA, the real attention doesn't come until Christmas. For reasons, one or the other, that's the way it is. But now, there is a conversation being made about the proliferation of the three-point shot. Shaquille O'Neal just recently talked about it. Not everybody is Golden State is what he said. I heard Derek Harper. He went on somebody's podcast and talked about it. I just recently heard the Kelvin kid from Odd Couple. He spoke about it as well. And I'm of the feeling that I think there has to be a middle ground. By that, I mean, there has to be a time where you can take the three-point shots and within the flow of the game. Not you just come across half court and you start figuring out when to hoist it. You can't do that. And, I've been looking at some of the stats as of late. There was a game on, in fact, the Knicks game that was played in the quarterfinals. Do you know between the two teams, they missed a total of 53 three-point shots. They went 24-73. 73 three-point shots put up. That's a lot, guys. That's a lot. But wait, I have more. Let's move on to the next day, December 12th. a game between Detroit and Boston. You know Boston likes to put them up. So in this game, they combined for, let's see. So between them, they missed almost 50 shots as well. In fact, Detroit, they went 7 for 37. That's appalling, guys. Not good. Not good. So you have that. And then on the very next day, that Friday, there was a game between the Charlotte Hornets and the Chicago Bulls. Supposedly the Hornets now are one of the better shooting three-point teams in the league. They combined, they missed together 75 three-point shots. Good grief. And that set a record, by the way. Most three-point shots missed in the game between two teams. I mean, and it shakes out that they went 22 for 97. That is under 25%, guys. You can't do that. You can't. No. This won't work. This won't work. And then in a game just last night, Golden State and Dallas Mavericks, they set an NBA record in three-point shots made in a game combined with 48. And they took 75 shots. Now, I say all this to say certain teams, I think your Bostons, they're gonna take their share of three-point shots. Your Golden States, they're gonna do that as well. Dallas seems like they're doing it also. New York, they're starting to hoist up a lot of threes. In fact, in that game, they attempted 42 three-point shots. I mean, you know, they got guys that's pretty proficient from there. But what I'm saying is all 30 teams should be shooting 40 three-point shots a game. They just shouldn't. I do agree. I saw a clip of my buddy, DJ Treese. She did a clip about this and talk about the ratings. And she said it's a loss of fundamentals. And I fully agree with that. The fundamental part of basketball is missing, which is why I gravitate to the WNBA, because it seems like they got it down pat as far as fundamentals go. And it seemed to be a lost art in the NBA. We need to get back to that. We need to get back to guys, your big guys, working in the post. In fact, I saw a game last night, the Lakers and the Memphis Grizzlies, and I saw Zach Edey down in the post, and I'm like, all he needs is somebody who can work with him in the post, and he'll be all right. I mean, right now he's just getting by on his sheer ability, but if he were to learn some post moves, he would be dangerous. So I think, yeah, that we need to get back to a place where the fundamentals of the game is being taught. And it seems like it's not being taught, you know, and this kind of goes in line with something I talked about, the American basketball kind of being at a crossroads. So can they get back to that? It's possible if I think somebody has to be brave enough to do it. Somebody has to be brave enough to go in there and say, look, you know, let's go get back to basics. A team, I think, kind of falls into that thinking is the Oklahoma City Thunder. They don't put up a whole lot of three-point shots. Getting your best player, he's not known as a three-point shooter per se. probably your best guy is probably Chet Holmgren. So they're a team that where they're not hoisting them up like that, but they're getting results in other parts of the game. So I think if you have more teams that take that kind of approach, I think you can see a better product. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, call me in January when we're talking about the ratings and stuff. If we see a fall down from there, then we can have the discussion. I think once the December 25th, the Christmas games start and people start getting into it, and then you see less of football because of playoffs, I think you'll see then the kind of ratings, if you will, jump up. So we'll see what happens. All right, let's move on. LeBron James, everybody's making a big stink, guys. He took a week off. It started off with him with foot management because of his foot. Remember, he was making claims that he wanted to play 82 games, which I thought was absurd. I said it in my last episode. And then it went to being personal reasons that he took off. So a lot of people was losing their mind trying to figure out why is he taking off and this and that. The man is almost 40 years old. So, you know, if it ended up being foot management and then something else, okay, fine. You know, what? You know what it is. Every move LeBron makes is scrutinized to the nth degree for some reason. So they probably say, oh, it's because, they looking to trade LeBron. Which, by the way, on NBA Countdown, the legendary Michael Wilbon, you know him from him and Tony Kornheiser, their show. You pardon the interruption. He on the Countdown show talked about LeBron wanting him to be traded to Golden State of all places. So right there within the division, the Pacific Division, which caused me to think and be like, a LeBron James trade to Golden State, what would that look like? You probably have to include Bronny. I don't see them trading LeBron without Bronny, so it probably have to be a package deal. If I'm LA, if I'm the Lakers, I want back Kuminga. You're probably going to have to take Wiggins' contract on. They just got Dennis Schroder. You might have to include him to make the money right. So that's 3 guys, and then probably draft picks. You'd go with draft picks from there. I think that kind of deal can probably move the needle as far as what you get back for LeBron. So will they do it? I don't know if they do. I don't know if they got the stomach to trade LeBron, but you know, and I was actually messaging with my nephew, big Lakers fan, messaging with him, and he's sick of Rob Pelinka. He's done with him. So move like this can probably get Rob Pelinka back in his good graces. So yeah, my nephew Shamir, we was texting, but yeah, yeah, that's, if I were to go there, that would be the move for me. That would be the move, I would say. I would, if I got back that haul back for LeBron, I'd be a happy camper. So I don't think they'll do it, but we'll see. And speaking of Dennis Schroder, like I said, he just got dealt to the Golden State Warriors. He came from Brooklyn. They sent Schroder and a second-round pick to Golden State. In return, they got DeAnthony Melton, who, by the way, you know, he tore up his knee and he's out for the year. So Brooklyn basically wanted that contract. This way it falls off the books. And also 3 second-round picks along with that. So Dennis Schroder, I think, will be a help in Golden State if they decide to keep him. You definitely got a guard who can take some pressure off of Steph, extra ball handler. That's always good to have. Dennis Schroder, he can light it up when the mood strikes him. So I think it's a good trade. I think it's a very good trade for Golden State. But again, it could be a matter of him getting flipped, especially if you're trying to do a LeBron trade, which I don't know if they're doing. So we'll see what happens. So that was one trade. And then Indiana, the Pacers, they got them a big man. Remember, guys, I was talking about them and their dearth of big men outside of Miles Turner. They really had no depth because you lost both guys with knee injuries. Now they got Thomas Bryant, who they got from the Miami Heat. In exchange, they're doing a pick swap in the 2023 draft in the second round. So Indiana gets some well-needed size. They needed that, so good trade for Indiana. All right, guys, so let's run off these top performances right quick, do some injury news. Let's try and get through this as quick as possible. Top performances. RJ Barrett, guys, he has a triple-double for the Toronto Raptors, but it happens in a loss, guys, on December 12th, a loss at Miami, by the way. In the game, he has 13 points, 11 rebounds, 10 assists, and losing to Miami. And for Miami, Tyler Hero remains hot, 23 points. Bam Adebayo with a nice double-double, 21 points, 16 rebounds. And then for Toronto, Grady Dick, guys, he's been starting for them, and he's been looking good. 22 points in this one. Domantas Sabonis for the Sacramento Kings. He gives you a 32-point, 20-rebound double-double, guys. And he does it on the same night, December 12th. He does it in a win over the New Orleans Pelicans. In New Orleans, they win that game, guys. So Domantas Sabonis gives you a fine performance here. Also for the Kings, DeMar DeRozan with 29 points. And then on the losing side, CJ McCollum, who I picked up in a couple of leagues, guys. I don't know, for some reason, some owners got rid of him. I picked him up, and I've been happy ever since. CJ McCollum, 36 points, and he dropped 6 threes in this game. Kevin Durant, in his return back, he missed 3 games with an ankle injury, guys. For the Phoenix Suns, 30 points along with 8 assists. And he does this on a Friday evening, and they get the win at Utah, guys. Also in that game, Devin Booker, 34 points. He dropped 6 threes in the game along with 8 assists. And on the losing side, John Collins, 22 points, 6 rebounds, 6 assists. Karl Anthony Towns continues his assault on New York. The Bodega Cat gives you 22 points, 22 rebounds, along with 5 assists. And he does this on a Sunday at Orlando, winning over them 100-91, thus giving Orlando their first home loss of the season. The Knicks do that. Also in that game, Jalen Brunson, he bounces back from a poor game against Atlanta, 31 points along with 5 assists. And then on the losing side, Mo Wagner, guys, off the bench, 32 points and 6 rebounds. So the Knicks get the win on the road. Victor Wembanyama, guys, for the San Antonio Spurs, of course. 20 points, 12 rebounds, but 7 block shots. Whew. But he does it in a loss, though, guys. On Sunday, he loses to the Minnesota Timberwolves, and that's at home. He loses. So, but Victor Wembanyama with a outstanding performance here. And then for the Timberwolves, Anthony Edwards with 26 and 5 rebounds. And also for the Spurs, Jeremy Sochan. He's been back a couple of games, guys. He looked like he's starting off where he left off. He had a pretty good start to the season. 17 points and 15 rebounds for him. And then in a game which I mentioned, guys, the game where the Mavericks and the Warriors combined for 48 three-point shots made between them, which is a record. In that game, Luka Doncic, 45 points, 13 assists, and 11 rebounds. So he gives you a 40-point triple-double, which is his 9th of his career, guys. Approaching rarefied air with those kind of numbers. And add to that 3 steals and 2 blocks for him. And of those 45 points, six threes, by the way. And they got the win over Golden State, 143 to 133 in a high-scoring affair at Golden State. Also for the Mavericks, Klay Thompson, 29 points, 7 threes in the game, guys. So you got 2 guys here with 13 threes between them. And add to that 5 rebounds, 4 assists, 2 steals. Andrew Wiggins, guys, he's been having kind of a quiet, nice year. 29 points in this game. He drops 5 threes. And then you got Steph Curry with a double-double. 26 points, 10 assists, 5 rebounds, but he dropped 7 threes in this game. So that's 12 threes between him and Wiggins. So, yeah, a record night for the Warriors and Mavericks. And then the last performance, Anthony Davis with a 40-point masterpiece along with 16 rebounds, 2 steals for him, guys. And he does it Sunday evening. A game that I watched, guys. They beat the Memphis Grizzlies at Crypto 116 to 110. In a game where LeBron made his return back. Remember, he missed the 2 games, one with the foot injury, the other one being personal. 18 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, 2 blocks for him. And then on the losing side for the Grizzlies, Jaren Jackson Jr., 25 points for him. He fouls out in that game. And then Ja Morant, who's just been playing awesome basketball, 20 points, 7 rebounds, 6 assists, 3 steals. Zach Edey, who I mentioned, 13 points, 10 rebounds, so a double-double for him. All right, guys, so that is your top performances. Injuries, guys. Got a few guys that's out with injuries. Some people coming back. Scottie Barnes, guys, who just came back recently. Now he's going to be out a week and possibly more with an ankle injury. It was kind of a nasty one, guys. His teammates had to help him up and carry him, off the court. And this happens on Monday, December 9th, in a loss to the New York Knicks. So Scottie Barnes, just when you thought he was settling in, he hurts his ankle, and now he's going to be out at least a week. That's what they'll talk about, but possibly more. But I just heard he's out of the walking boots, so take that for what it's worth. Jared McCain, guys. I was talking about him last week. He got Rookie of the Month. He's going to be out indefinitely, guys. He has a meniscus tear in his knee, and this happened on Friday in a loss against the Indiana Pacers, guys. So the promising rookie, he's going to miss some time, unfortunately. So definitely wishing him speedy recovery. He was playing so well, guys. So as far as the East rookies, I don't know where you look now. because he had such a promising start. And then in the same game, Joel Embiid, guys, he's going to be out at least a week with a nasal fracture, guys. So the hits just keep coming for Joel Embiid. Now you add this to the myriad of injuries he's dealing with. So he's going to miss at least a week, guys. So, we'll see what happens with him. But just another blow, guys, if you're a Embiid fan, that's for sure. Miles Bridges, he comes back after missing 10 games, guys, with a knee injury. He comes back in a loss, though. In a loss, actually, in the game I mentioned against Chicago. He comes back in that one. He played 25 minutes, 14 points, 9 rebounds, 4 assists for him. So Miles Bridges back. And it looks like the word I got, LaMelo Ball, he's supposed to come back tonight and play. So Charlotte Hornets getting a couple of pieces back that they kind of need. They were playing competitive basketball before these two guys went down. So maybe they'll get back to that now that they're healthy. Kawhi Leonard, I really haven't talked about him much for the LA Clippers. He's close to making his season debut, guys. He's missed 26 games thus far. Right now, they're in the 9th position at 14-12. So getting Kawhi back would be a feather in their cap, that's for sure. You definitely need him if you're going to make any type of moves in the West. You're going to need a Kawhi Leonard. So hopefully, maybe this week, maybe we get to see him this week. We'll see. So we'll see what happens there. Couple more things, and then we're done, guys. Dick Van Arsdale passes away at the age of 81. He was known as the original Sun. He was one of the first players that the Phoenix Suns drafted as when they were, coming into the league in the expansion draft. He was originally drafted by the New York Knicks, guys. Dick Van Arsdale coming out of the University of Indiana in 1965. He was the 13th pick overall. He plays 3 seasons for the Knicks, and then the Knicks leaves him exposed in the expansion draft, and the Phoenix Suns take him. He plays there 9 years, guys. His overall career average, 16.4 points per game, over 4 rebounds, and well over 3 assists for him. He's a 3-time All-Star, all 3 of those with the Phoenix Suns. He was on the all-rookie team for the Knicks and all-defensive team in 1973-74 for the Suns. So Dick Van Arsdale, who, by the way, has a twin brother, Tom Van Arsdale, who also played in the league. In fact, in his last season, he was on the same team with his brother, Tommy Van Arsdale, who was picked up, and both brothers played together. So, but Dick Van Arsdale passes at 81. We send condolences to the Van Arsdale family on their loss. Greg Popovich, he makes a statement, guys. His first statement since the stroke that took, put him on the sidelines, guys. And I'm going to read that to you. Give me 1 second. Yes, right here. Here's the statement from Greg Popovich. This has certainly been an unexpected 6 weeks for my family and me. As we work together on my recovery, I want to take a moment to share that the outpouring of support we've received during this time has been truly overwhelming in the best possible way. While I wish I could get back to each one of you, for now, let me say that my family and I are forever grateful. We're thankful for our wonderful community, the entire Spurs organization, and our family and friends. No one is more excited to see me return to the bench than the talented individuals who have been leading my rehabilitation process. They quickly learned that I'm less than coachable. And that is your statement from Greg Popovich. And of course, we extend well wishes and speedy recovery to Greg Popovich, that he comes back on the sidelines sooner than later. So we wish him well. All right. So GD's Big Five, it's pretty much looks the same. It's like deja vu all over again, guys. Number one is the Cleveland Cavaliers. They're still up there with the best record in the league, with at 22-4. Then second, Boston Celtics, your defending champions, 21-5. So they right there breathing down the necks of Cleveland. Then you have OKC in the third spot. So everything is status quo, guys. Fourth, the Memphis Grizzlies, still there, 18-9. Again, they go as far as Ja Morant, health, and play goes. And then fifth, I got to it again, guys. I'm splitting it between Houston Rockets and the Dallas Mavericks at 17-9. Both are playing well. They were in the Cup quarterfinals. Both of them, well, one won their game. The other lost theirs. But Houston ended up losing in the semis. So, but that's your GD's Big Five. Not much of a change, so it's no need to go too much further into that. And then finally, Aaliyah Boston, guys. Her high school jersey gets retired at the Worcester Academy in Massachusetts. So Aaliyah Boston, fine player for the Indiana Fever, in fact. Then she goes to the University of South Carolina, where she plays well, and we just wish her all the best. Amazing human being, amazing player as well. Big congrats for this prestigious honor bestowed upon her. All right, guys, so that's it for me. I thank you for listening as always. All Things Basketball with GD.com is the website. There you find all my videos. You find my support buttons, guys. They're there. You see it on the scroll. My support links are there. So you can go there if you like. At the website, you can hit the buttons there as well. My Cash App, you see it there as well. Help your boy out this Christmas season, guys. Just the season to give. So give to your boy. All right. So I'm on YouTube, guys. My videos are there on YouTube. Also, I'm on your podcast platforms. Apple, you can leave a review there, of course. Like the videos wherever you see them. 5-star rating, guys. Help your boy out. Appreciate that. As far as socials go, no more Twitter, no more X. I'm on everything else, IG, TikTok, as long as TikTok is up and running. Blue Sky, I'm starting to post there a little bit now. Facebook, I have my links that automatically go there and so forth. So, yeah. All right, guys. So that's it for me. I thank you for listening. As always, your listenership is so important to this show. It's always appreciated. And we'll talk soon. Take care.